I do like the conversation of the losers. What's what's your last loser, or what's your I really think, and I threw this in the chat earlier, like your year can really be defined based on how you manage the losers. And yes, nobody talks
For
about
sure.
them on Twitter and so forth. But if you do not have a good system or a good trading plan, it's the old saying is that you've got to have bigger winners than losers, and you do know how you have to manage the losers. You can't have large losers in this game. You've got to keep the losers small, and you're going to have them no matter what. And it's okay to be. And one of the things too, I'm just throwing a couple things out there because
Sure.
the conversation of losers is so important. But you could be wrong all the time, and Dennis talks about this in his trading, and it's a great education to investors. You could be wrong quite frequently. You just don't want to stay wrong, and you don't want to be stubborn. Stubbornness is probably one of the worst traits that you can have as a trader. So I love the conversation, and I love the transparency that Dennis brings, even though no one on Twitter has any losers.
Well, Christian, do you have any losing trades? Can you tell us about, one notable loser or fun loser? Sometimes they're fun and sometimes you'll learn
Oh
from them.
no, they're
No, they're
not fun.
never fun. They're never fun.
Yeah, I mean, I had a loser last week, and they do end up being distractions too, because it kind of messes up your day. I mean, and I like how you're, good traders, and another really good trait of good traders is they just get over them really quickly. I was in Chipotle last week when they announced that the CEO is leaving, and
Oh,
there's nothing that you could really do about an announcement like that, and that's part of the business. Is that just sometimes, I'm mostly a swing trader. So from time to time, this sometimes scars traders from they have one of these and they're like, oh, I'm never holding a position overnight. But
yeah.
it is what it is. It's part of the business by where you're going to be lucky sometimes, and you're also going to be unlucky sometimes. And the announcement that the CEO was leaving was such a big reaction in Chipotle and in Starbucks. I don't think I've ever seen a reaction like that where
Incredible.
where a CEO leaves one company and goes to the other. And it shows you what respect that they have for this guy. But yeah, I mean, I was caught in that name, and it ended up being a loser for me. I did add a little bit to it just for the day. I mean, usually when I'm in a trade, I've got reasons to be in that trade, and I was looking for a recovery in Chipotle because it had dipped with everything else, and I was just looking for kind of a reversion trade back a bit. And once that news came out, I was like, okay, well, that swing trade is gone. I did try to salvage a little bit because I thought it was an overreaction. And I managed to kind of salvage the not the whole trade, but the ad that I did, because I added a little bit too early. And so I did get off. I did get out of the ad for like a dollar gain, but overall the trade was a loss. And just the last thing I'll say is that it also, like, when you've got a situation like that, it's just better to kind of get rid of it, because then you're distracted.
Yeah,
And that day was
definitely.
a big rally day for the market, and I was, a portion of my day was watching Chipotle, and I was like, geez, I
Yeah.
missed everything else.